Hi guys, welcome back to Safety Sunday. Today we're going to be talking about the primary assessment, and the primary assessment is really important for gathering all the information you can and for helping you react to an emergency in the proper way. So hopefully when I start going over this, it rings some bells. I have gone over this in my classes multiple times, and I know every lifeguard instructor goes over the primary assessment because it's very important. So hopefully as I'm talking about this, you remember some things. Hopefully you're like, shut up, Sky, I know all of this already. And if you don't, I'm hoping that this can be a good reminder and that you really know this by the end of this video. So step number 1 of the primary assessment is going to be sizing up the scene. This is happening before you even reach the victim. So while you're walking up to the scene, you want to be making sure that it's safe. So if there's broken glass or if there's a puddle with a loose wire, you want to avoid those obstacles. If you know that approaching the victim is going to put yourself in danger, you don't approach the victim just because you're going to be no help to them if you are also down. So just make sure the scene is safe. B, the second part of sizing up the scene is going to be putting on your PPE, so make sure you're getting your gloves on. If you have your hip pack, make sure that is there and your mask is in there, so if you have to do CPR, you're ready for that. And the third part of sizing up the scene is going to be gathering information from nearby people. So if this person has a crowd around them, you want to have them back up a little bit, but you also want to ask them, hey, did you see what happened? Were they maybe having an allergic reaction? Were they maybe drowning and somebody pulled them out and I just didn't see? Do they maybe have a history of high blood pressure, and did you maybe see them grabbing their chest? Did they have a heart attack? Things like that, just so you can get a sense of what you're walking into. So that is step 1, sizing up the scene. Step 2 is going to be checking for responsiveness. So you want to make sure that this person is in fact unresponsive before you potentially start doing CPR or something. Maybe they're just a really deep sleeper and they're sleeping. I don't know. Maybe they decided to take a nap on the pool deck. So when you approach them, you want to do the tap, shout, tap sequence, and that is a firm tap on their shoulder saying, are you okay? I'm sure you remember this on the mannequin, but you're going to walk up. Are you okay? Are you okay? And you want to do a nice firm tap. You don't want to do a really hard tap to bruise them. You don't want to do a really light tap because that might not wake them up if they're asleep. I don't know. But you want to do a nice firm tap and say, are you okay? Are you okay? If it's a baby, you want to tap the bottom of their foot. And I'm sure you remember this silly video where they're like, baby, are you okay? But, still do that. It's a little silly, but you have to. So tap the bottom of the baby's foot and say, baby, are you okay? If the baby or the adult or the child does not move at all, if they don't make any noises, if they don't show any indication of responding, you're going to assume that they're unresponsive. Now, when this happens, you have some potential issues. They could not be breathing, they could not have a pulse, so you need to have somebody call 911 and you need to have somebody get you an AED. So before you even check their pulse or their breathing, make sure that you point out 2 specific people and say, you call 911, you get the AED. And it's really important that you point specific people out, because if you don't, they might assume that other people are going to do it. So make sure, if you know their names, that's even better. Hey, Bob, call 911. Yo, Pam, get the AED. Be nicer than that. I don't know why I just went all gangster on them. But you have to just make sure that you are pointing out specific people so they know that they need to call 911 or they need to get the AED. And then I guess that was the third part. So again, to recap, first part, size up the scene. Second part, check for responsiveness. Third part, call 911, get the AED. Step 4 is going to be check for breathing and check their pulse. And you want to do this at the same time for no less than 5 seconds and no more than 10 seconds. So to check for breathing, you want to open their airway, and remember that is one hand on their forehead, one hand on their chin. Pull it up, make sure that their airway is nice and open. And the second part of doing this is going to be putting your ear up to their mouth and looking at their chest. So if you can hear them breathing or if you can see them breathing, that's a good sign that they're breathing. Then to check their pulse for an adult or a larger child, you're going to be checking their carotid artery, or for a baby, you want to check their brachial pulse. And if they don't have a pulse or if they're not breathing, you're going to have to respond as you need to. Now, I'm going to be going over that next week because if I went over the correct response for each situation, that would be a very long video. But just know that some people may have one or two or none of these symptoms. And, if they're not breathing or they don't have a pulse, that's really bad. And you're going to have to do CPR and stuff like that. But that's for next week, and I'll go over all those situations next week. What you need to know for now is this primary assessment that I went over, and also some notes for primary assessment. If it is a baby or a child and a parent or a guardian is nearby, you need to ask them for consent. Even if the baby is clearly unresponsive, you need to say, "Ma'am, sir, person, is it okay if I inspect your baby and if I help your baby?" If they say no, you have to back off and you have to respect their wishes, because you can get into legal trouble if you ignore them, and that would, that's weird, I know, but you can get in trouble. So basically, always ask for consent. If they're responsive and you still feel like you need to check them out, ask for consent, because if they're an adult, they can also sue you or something if you try to help them and they don't want to be helped. And then if they're breathing, if you're checking for breathing and they just randomly gasp, that might not be breathing. That might be called an agonal breath, which is kind of like a spasm of the diaphragm, and it's not actually them breathing. So if they seem to be not breathing and then all of a sudden you hear they're still probably not breathing. I hate to break it to you. So that is everything for the primary assessment. I know I was trying to kind of squeeze a lot of information into a short video here, so sorry if that sounded rushed, but I am going to be linking the quiz for this week below, and I'm also in the newsletter going to be attaching Red Cross's official video, so if you want to hear kind of a more concise explanation of a primary assessment, or you want to hear the Red Cross's official take on it, you can watch that video as well. So please take the quiz, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.